Hi everyone, this is Hanzala and today we are taking a look into Falco. So what is Falco? Well, Falco is an open source runtime security tool and it's used to monitor and detect suspicious behavior on our systems. So on this lab in the code cloud mock exam 1 and question 6, it is already installed. The question here is asking us, it's saying that the suspicious behavior has been detected on one of the pods which is running the HTTPD image in the cluster. Now it's saying that the Falco service is showing this alert, which is filed below a non-binary directory open for writing. We need to identify the rule that's causing this alert and update it as per the requirements, which we need to update to this one, step 1, and we need to update where the logs are stored here on step 2. And it's also telling us to update only the Falco underscore rules.local YAML file to override the rules. So how would we get started on this? Well, first of all, I would say just minimize this a bit. Let's have a look at Falco. If you do systemctl status Falco and see if it's running, so we know it now, it's active and running. So the next part is we can see some of the errors here, which what we need, but imagine there was a lot of errors, so you may not be able to see the exact error you are getting. So the second step would be to use the journalctl, do -f.u, and we'll do Falco, and we can see that the error is coming over here. And of course, if there was a lot of errors, then what you could do here is you can do a grep and just copy and paste the writing for what you need, and it'll find only that. Okay, and it's saying the HTTPD image over here as well. But this still doesn't give us the location of where the Falco files are stored. So in order to find that out, what we can do now is if you do journalctl-u, and if you scroll up, you should be able to see where it's saying loading rules from file etc falco rules.yaml. So if we copy this and we open up another tab, we can do cat. And what we can do here is we can do now a grep, and we can copy this. And this will find the rule that we're looking for. And what we can do now is if you write -c, and let's say 20, so this will show us some of the lines below and above. We can see over here, it's showing the rule, and this is what it's pulling. This is what it's writing. So we can just copy this. And now what we need to do actually is we need to find, well, what I recommend is to just cd into the folder. It'll be easier. And then we need to go into the local file. Okay, once we are in here, we just need to paste this rule over here. Okay, now this rule is pasted. Now the next step is, what do we change? We need to get it to, we need the output to be like this. Well, if we don't know, what we can do is we can go back to this one and we can find the error, and let's copy and paste part of it up to maybe over here, and we can paste it just below here. And what we can look at is the first thing it says is error file. So we know the error is the first thing that's going to change because we need it to say critical. So we can change it to represent that. And then the second part will be that we need over here is the user underscore ID. So how do we know what to find? Well, in the exam, you're going to have access to the Falco documentation. You're going to have access to this exact link. So if we open this link up, we need to find where we are looking at. So I would recommend you memorize where you need to find the fields that you need. So if you go into reference, into Falco rules, and you look into fields for conditions and outputs, And here you need to just Control F and look for the user ID. So we can do user and just press enter a few times, and you can see here field class user, and we need the user ID, and that matches user.uid. So that is what we need. So we can do user underscore u underscore ID, and this is where you need to make sure it matches what it says over there. So here it'll be user.uid. So that's done. The next one is, what is the next one? It is saying file updated. So we need to find on file. So if you write file, and we can see a few things on FD, which is a file descriptor. So you can see FD file name. That is a file name without the path. And then we can see over here fd.name, which is FD full name, which is what we want. So we just need fd.name. So what we can do here is we can just delete this. We don't need this for now. And we just need to copy what's written over there, file updated equals, and then over here, let me remove this out of the way, file updated, we just need to write fd.name. Okay, so that will give us now the file that's going to be updated, and then the command. So we know from over here, after the user login, the command comes in. So since we just deleted this, the next thing is the command. So that is already over here. So we can keep that, and we just need to delete the next line after the commands, after this part. So if we do delete, and just make sure you take off any of the spaces, so it's exactly like how you want it. If, for example, you left a space like this, we wouldn't get the mark. Okay, so that is done. Just double check one last time, and what we can do now is we don't need this line anymore, so we can delete this and just save it. So that's done. Now the second part is we need to have a look at the alerts. So the alerts will be stored in the falco.yaml file, and we can check this by just doing grep output, and we can see it's got quite a few outputs on how to set it. So it definitely has something to do with outputs. So if we go into Vim and we write YAML and we do /output and then press enter and then we press N. So this will keep jumping through all the words with output. So we're going to keep going down till it finds what we're looking for. And we can see over here the file name. Let me just go back. So we need to change this to the directory that it wants us to store the logs. Copy this, paste it over here, and then we just need to enable this. So if I press enter, and then the next part is, now that everything is set, we need to restart it. So if you do systemctl restart Falco, and then we can check the status. So if you go back into the logs that we are looking at, you can see over here critical file below a non-directory, and it has the user ID, which is what we want. It has the file updated and it has the command. So this meets the criteria for what the question is asking for. So if we do end exam now, this will take about 20-30 seconds. We'll just wait. In the meanwhile, guys, please like and subscribe and drop a comment below and let me know what you think. And there you go, that's passed. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this lesson on Falco.